Welcome to another episode of Dreams Denied by James Karoga. To take you through is your teacher, Teacher Risper, a teacher of English and literature. Welcome to the forum. We want to get to the discussion of Act 2, Scene 3. But before we do, there is a need to recap our previous episode that focused on the two market women, Wamboi and Atieno. Looking at Wamboi and Atieno, we can talk about them as representative of the common citizen. We can still look at them as representative of the business community because they are engaged in some kind of a business. And we saw that the economy was not thriving. It was not good for business, but these women had a hope that things were going to turn for the better because we had seen some politicians were regrouping. They are going around giving people civic education so that they can achieve better governance next time when the citizens choose better leaders. The question was, will the politicians that are regrouping, will they succeed? Welcome to Act 2, Scene 3. We are about to encounter three people, and the three people are Lipuka, the former senator, and also the former advisors of Governor Mwitu, who were Ogola and Mwanga. And they're engaged in a conversation. We see that they want to bring changes to Karara County. But before we capture the details of their conversation, I want us to look at their surrounding. Their surrounding displays a lack of extravagance. We see that they subscribe to simplicity. They are not wasteful. It is just a simple office space. And the reason that these three people are meeting is that they intend to bring changes to Karara County, changes that will come with changing the leadership, or else the leadership that is busy plundering will, in the end, leave the county bankrupt. There's something that Lipuka says, that the meeting is happening in secrecy. There is need for secrecy so that they do not get sabotaged. The lesser the people who know about this meeting, the lesser the chances of getting sabotaged. And if at all a sabotage occurs, then there is the theme of betrayal, because who would betray you other than someone who closely knows what you are talking about? That is generally what is going on in this chapter. They are engaged in a discussion, and among the things they speak about is the youth are losing hope. The youth are losing hope because they are educated with degrees, with diplomas, but then they lack employment. And these youth that lack employment, we see that they have turned to alcohol, and alcoholism is an example of escapism. We say that escapism is whereby you avoid facing the reality by engaging in other things. And even alcoholism is an example of escapism. They want to escape the real situation that they're jobless, they can't find employment, therefore they turn to alcohol. And Ogola, Mwanga, and Lipuka are all for the idea that they need to restore sanity in Karara. They want to avoid harsh judgment from the future generations. The future generations will blame them. They'll say, you guys sat back when Governor Mwitu plundered our country's resources. And already we see that Karara County is facing a harsh economy. And in this harsh economy, we see that even the agricultural sector has not been spared. The agricultural sector, especially the people who engage in large-scale agriculture, they used to live a life of dignity where they could even hire casual laborers. But now with the taxes going up and all the money goes to things such as fertilizers, The large-scale farmers can no longer afford to pay casual laborers because of the harsh economy. And we see that these farmers say they have been reduced to beggars, and this one strips them of their dignity. These are people who could fend for themselves, provide for themselves, but right now, getting reduced to beggars, it is stripping them of their dignity. Another element we see in Act 2, Scene 3, and we get it from the conversation of these three people. We are learning that the civic education that was being carried out has been met with some has met a negative end, whereby some people became corruptible. Corruptible is that they allowed themselves to be corrupted by taking small monies from Governor Mwitu's camp. And because of the money they took, these people, they are no longer giving civic education to the people. A case in court is Senator Lipuka's village. For 5 weeks, no civic education has taken place, and this can be found on page 36. To be noted is that in case Governor Mwitu is to be taken out of power, these people who took a bribe will be prosecuted, because in corruption, it takes two to tango. The one who was corrupting and the one who became corruptible are both to blame. Therefore, they might face prosecution. In case Governor Mwitu is out of power, they'll have to answer to charges of corruption. Looking at it from another angle, this one is also betrayal. They set out. They were trusted to do the job. What made them to change along the way? We also learn about the political class intending to retain people in ignorance by denying them education. When someone is educated, they will question the status quo. Why is it the same people are ruling? Governor, from becoming a governor, next the person becomes the president. Couldn't they have given that position to other people who are worthy of it? People will understand the constitution. People will start to question. Therefore, it is in the best interest of the political class to maintain people in ignorance. And the food program has been touched on, even though slightly. We are being told that because of the abolishing of the food program, some of the students are forced to drop out of school. Therefore, they will no longer gain the education. The number of learners decreases. And what becomes of someone who abandons their quest for education? Such people will not have a bright future. Therefore, they'll be a target for corruption by the politicians. In what way? Such people, because they do not have qualifications to get them to a job, they will resort to being hired as goons to perpetuate chaos during elections. And at this point, we get to ask a question. Does the government have the people's interest at heart? If they can make people drop out of school so that the people can turn into goons, the government for sure does not have the best interest of the people at heart. And in any other way, you can also interpret or give examples to the same. Ogola looks like he is very much infuriated with Governor Mwitu, and he is ready to do anything to bring Governor Mwitu down. After all, the end justifies the means. What means does he intend to use to justify the end? Ogola advocates for dirty politics. He says they can start a rumor about Governor Mwitu, and while Governor Mwitu will be held up trying to get to the bottom of these rumors because they will create a lot of fear in him, they will have sailed through. And in his defense, he says that Governor Mwitu has not been playing a clean politics himself. But then Lipuka is against this idea. Lipuka says there will be no difference between them. If they're also playing dirty the same way as Governor Mwitu has been playing, then there is no difference. And also when they play dirty, and then later on it gets discovered, they'll be helping Governor Mwitu to get back into power because he can launch a case against them. He wins and gets back into office through a technicality, yet the mission had been to remove Governor Mwitu in the first place. So, Lipuka does not support this. And for Lipuka not to support this, we can therefore judge him as someone who is honest. We can judge him as someone who is ethical or even morally upright. He wants us to use the right way to gain it. And he does not subscribe to the idea that the end justifies the means. Lipuka gains the support of Mwanga. Remember that this conversation was among three people. Ogola suggesting they play dirty politics. Lipuka and Mwanga on the other side, they tell him that's not the way to go. Let's just maintain our integrity. Let's maintain our dignity by doing it the honest way. But their main worry is that Governor Mwitu might end up bankrupting the country. With the way he is looting the funds, the county might just end up bankrupt. And also Ogola gives us an insight into Governor Mwitu. Ogola tells us that Governor Mwitu is someone that cannot be corrected. He cannot change for the better. Therefore, you can simply call him incorrigible. He's someone who cannot correct his ways and become a moral person. Therefore, for them to give him another chance to correct his wrong ways is a pipe dream. And also about Governor Mwitu, we learn that he is someone who hates the educated. He has a dislikeful attitude towards the educated. And he only wants to surround himself with sycophants who will echo his decisions. We also learn about Governor Mwitu's plan, that after he has run for 2 terms, he was interested in advancing his career, going for the top job, which was the presidency. If at all he is able to clinch the top job, the presidency, more people will be in trouble, because if someone could not be trusted to run a county, how can that person be trusted to run the country? A country that has 12 counties. If he cannot run a single county, what makes him fit to run a country that has 12 counties? Therefore, they need to stop him, and they need to stop him fast. And we are now learning even the reason that the governor is looting the funds. The governor is trying to amass a lot of money for himself so that he can gain enough money for campaigning for the top job, the presidency. And Mwitu has attracted a lot of ridicule from international community. His idea of cows having IDs has made him the laughingstock, and they are now also laughing at the people of Karara. They're thinking, couldn't you have found a better leader? By extension, even the people of Karara are being made fun of. And an idea creeps into Lipuka, and Lipuka wonders, why can't we approach deputy governor so that he can help us maybe restore sanity in Karara County? To Lipuka's idea, he is told that Kayai, the deputy governor, and Governor Mwitu, they are cut from the same cloth. The only reason that has made Kayai to be a bit laid back, to be a bit humble, is because Governor Mwitu is blackmailing him. Governor Mwitu seems to hold a lot of skeletons that Kayai is keeping in his closet. There are some secrets particular to Kayai that Mwitu knows, and Mwitu is holding them against him. If he just does not toe the line, Governor Mwitu might just reveal Kayai's secrets. And this one is making Kayai to be docile. He is not ready to go against Governor Mwitu. Have you also realized blackmail is an example of corruption? For the ones who don't know what corruption is, or maybe might have forgotten, corruption is using dishonesty. Using dishonest means for personal gain. So that he can gain that presidency, he even has to blackmail someone. So we see that Governor Mwitu, we are given further evidences that he is corrupt. And he has turned Kayai into his puppet. Another thing we learn about Kayai is, whenever the 4 a.m. meetings were taking place, Kayai was never present for them. And the question becomes, was Kayai sidelined? And if Kayai had been sidelined, was it that Governor Mwitu did not trust his deputy governor? That is a question that we need to ask ourselves about, read extensively, and come up with an answer. And during the 4 a.m. meetings, we learned that the governor used to be very suspicious. The governor was so suspicious to the extent that he used to screen his advisors. They will be thoroughly searched to ensure that they did not have recording devices. What is this that is making the governor so insecure? He even has to search his own advisors so that they don't record him. What is he doing that he is that suspicious? And according to Ogolla, according to Mwanga, these early meetings that were exposing them to cold have been the cause of his incessant cough. He has a cough that seems not to be going away, and he attributes it to the 4 a.m. meetings that exposed him to a lot of cold. And we wonder, why was the governor calling for meetings at 4 a.m.? Was it like a way of asserting his authority? I am the boss, and if I decide it is 4 a.m., it will be 4 a.m. And we also learn of an element of nepotism that can be found on page 41. People are being given jobs not on merit, but because they have a close relationship with the governor. And an example are the county executive committee members. They got their jobs not out of merit, but because of their relationship with the governor. Mwitu's dislike for the educated makes him to frustrate the technocrats. Therefore, these technocrats will end up just quitting. If they don't quit, Governor Mwitu himself would fire them. He sees them as a threat. You can even remember the way he accused Ogolla of using big words. Whenever they use some kind of English he does not understand, he feels that they are abusing him. He feels that he is being intimidated. All the same, the three resolve to continue educating the masses, but they need to have a tactic that they will follow as they are educating the masses, which is their major agenda. They need to emancipate these people. These people need to be liberated from the thoughts that they cannot do it by being educated and getting a better leader. Even though these people are really taking their time to educate the masses, we see that some people are still wallowing in ignorance. They are deep-rooted in their ignorance to the extent that they've allowed themselves to be used as guinea pigs